Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
And this week we're doing the community version of Tesla Time News, so most of the stories are going to be done by you guys, the community.
Episode 353 coming up next
on Now You Know.
So it's been, like a week since Ford announced that they will be adopting the Tesla plug or the NACS. Now GM seems to be getting on board the NACS train.
GM CEO Mary Barra announced last week on Twitter with Elon that GM will be installing the NACS plug on all its EVs starting in 2025.
I'm really excited to announce that we plan to adopt the North American charging standard, and we're working really hard that our first vehicle will come in 2025.
So in 2024, GM EVs will be able to charge at Tesla Superchargers using a CCS to NACS adapter.
Now, I know that Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, said that Ford would be sending CCS adapters to all of their existing EV customers for free. Do you think that Mary will do the same?
I don't think that Mary Barra knows what a CCS to NACS adapter is. No, honestly, I think that this was a rush job. I think that basically they heard about the Ford announcement, and I think one of the board members called up Mary, or maybe all of them, and were like,
Mary, what the hell are we doing over here, GM? What the hell is this show? Mary, we need to get on those snacks right away.
Yes, snacks. We have plenty of snacks. Don't worry. If you look under the cupboards in the hall, we have plenty of snacks.
Not snacks, Mary. NACS, Tesla NACS.
NACS, yes, knickknacks. We have plenty of them. We give them out to customers all the time.
Mary, for God's sake, get on this.
Yeah, so this is huge news.
Yeah, it basically does what we said a week ago is going to happen. It cements the fact that the Tesla NACS standard is going to be the standard.
So then I want to ask the next logical question, which is what other car companies are going to be switching to NACS?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them are going to switch.
Okay, so Toyota.
They can't not switch. Think about it. You got Ford and GM, so that's it.
Because essentially now it's Tesla, Ford, and GM.
Those are the top 3 EV makers in the United States.
And they're all using Tesla Superchargers. They're all going to start
do that.
And so basically we're going to start to hear from Toyota and Hyundai and
we have to.
BMW, Volkswagen, everybody.
Yes.
But then, the question is, what happens with the EV charging companies?
They all have to have NACS at their chargers as well.
So you're talking about Electrify America,
EVgo,
all of them have to switch.
Have at least, switch or at least have some NACS available.
Because now it's gone from this mismatch of like, CCS is like, well, that's the standard for some reason, even though most cars in the world have NACS. Everybody else has CCS. Now there isn't everybody else. Everybody else is going to switch to NACS.
Well, and that kind of leads to this next story, which is that the White House has now spoken, and they seem to be forgetting that there are more EVs on the road in the US that have NACS, or Tesla plugs, than have CCS. So White House spokesperson Robin Patterson said in a statement regarding these new developments, and this is via Reuters, she said, earlier this year, we developed minimum standards to ensure publicly funded EV charging is accessible, reliable, and affordable for all drivers, and we required interoperability to promote competition. Those standards give flexibility for adding both CCS and NACS as long as drivers can count on a minimum of CCS. And it's like, why would we have to count on a minimum of CCS if more drivers are going to be driving with NACS?
Right. And so I think that this is super smart. So Tesla had been courting the big auto companies forever.
And you know what's super smart is Magic Dock. Tesla only had to install, 10 of them? And then all of a sudden, they're not going to have to do that anymore if they don't want to.
Exactly, right. We thought that Magic Dock was going to be everywhere and then all EVs are going to be included. No. Tesla says, you're going to come onto our network, right. You're going to use the best plug in North America, and we're going to call it the North American Charging Standard. So Tesla's been playing this game where they've been courting these big EV companies. They've been building the best charging network, at least in North America. I would argue pretty much bar none, anywhere that they operate, they have the best charging network. And now we've gotten to this point where everyone's adopting to it because of course they're going to adopt to it. And now we have the White House trying to be like, no, but wait. My friend said that we shouldn't, it's not really that, and nobody cares.
Well, and my big question is, if Ford is already giving out the CCS to NACS adapters, GM's gonna have to follow suit and do the same.
I feel like GM has more EVs on the road than Ford.
Right, well, with all the bolts. But I mean, so you think they're not going to do that and they're going to make you pay for it?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So, believe it or not, I don't think that they care about their EV customers.
That's true, because I mean, they did just spend, what, $580 million on their new Escalade and Navigator factory. Right. So that's their moneymaker.
I think that GM is going to say, yeah, you're on your own. Go find an adapter. We don't care about you stupid Bolt owners. All we want to sell is the Lyriq and the Equinox and the Blazer.
Get out of here! Can't you see we don't want you anymore?
So yeah, we only made the Bolt because we had to.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to keep making those cars, the Equinox and the Lyriq, with the CCS until 2025 rolls around. That's 2 more years. And then what? Like, none of this makes much sense. This was all so dumb. They should have just adopted it years ago.
And basically, now they're looking so stupid because they could have done this years ago. Now everyone's realizing that they could have done this years ago, and it would have made a whole bunch more sense. I want to talk about what this means for Tesla. This means cash money, baby.
Yeah, because don't forget, they don't get to use this for free.
Yes.
They have to license it.
So Ford and GM probably have either signed or are in the process of signing agreements with Tesla.
Oh, they've signed.
Where they're going to spend a lot of money. When do we get to see how much money these companies have spent?
I mean, it'll have to be on their balance sheet somewhere, but I'm sure they're going to bury it. So I don't know.
Right. But it's going to be on, we're going to be able to look at GM and Ford and Tesla, and it's going to be like what we spent at GM and Ford. And then with Tesla, it's going to be like what we gained. And it's going to be like charging network. Oops, we suddenly made $3 billion. Wonder where that came from.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much that is.
And then the last question will be, I mean, the White House is saying it has to have CCS, so Tesla could throw in, 1 or 2 Magic Docks if they had to. But I think they've already done the work. They've already put out the Superchargers. It's been this thing we've been talking about for years and years and years and reporting on every single one that's come out. And now it's finally come to the point where they're able to switch the entire North American auto industry.
The government's just way behind. They're going to have to switch
the
wording.
They will catch up. There's no question about it. Everyone's going to adopt this standard.
Yep.
It's the obvious standard. Let's be real about it. Yep. And now Tesla's going to be Tesla's going to get all of the money that was reserved for public EV charging because they're going to be basically the EV charger.
Yep. Every new supercharger they put in.
It's insane. Yep. It's insane what a long-term business move that Elon has played for the past 7-8 years.
Exactly. He doesn't play quarter to quarter. He plays the long game.
This was a long move, and I'm flabbergasted by it. It's so exciting.
Yeah, Elon wins the long game. So Core Power, that is a battery company, they just got an $850 million DOE, Department of Energy loan to build an EV battery cell plant in Buckeye, Arizona.
Coreplex, which is the name of the facility, will be 1.33 million square feet.
Wow.
And it will produce 6 gigawatt hours of batteries annually.
Wow, that sounds like a lot.
So they are tracking for late 2024 or early 2025 for batteries to start rolling off the production line.
So 6 gigawatt hours, that sounds like a lot. How many EVs is that?
So that's roughly 80,000 EVs worth of battery cells.
It sounds like a bigger number than it is, but that's still a lot. But here's some interesting news. Tesla has just leased 48401 Fremont Boulevard. Now, you might be like, where is that?
I don't know my...
Well, let's go to the map.
Okay.
So check this out. This is a manufacturing facility. It's 210,000 square feet. It's advanced manufacturing. And, the San Francisco Business Times reports the facility will support production of Tesla's 4680 battery cell technology, according to one of the sources who had direct knowledge of the deal, but was not authorized to discuss it publicly. The 4680 cell, a more efficient and longer-lasting battery technology, is expected to be a crucial part of the company's rollout of its Cybertruck vehicle later this year. So just a reminder, Tesla Cato Road, which is just a 6-minute drive away and basically across the highway, is Tesla's 4680 battery pilot plant, which, according to Tesla, should be producing 10 gigawatt hours per year.
Well, hold on. So how do you produce 10 gigawatt hours out of such a tiny building?
Well, as of last year, Tesla had supposedly reached 900,000 cells a week. So that's about 1,000 EVs a week of cell production. So that would be almost 4 gigawatt hours a year. But Cato Road is their pilot plant. So basically they figure out how things work, and then I guess they were going to mass produce this in the other plants. So they previously said they would be able to do 10 gigawatt hours a year here. It seems possible they could reach that because we did some back of the napkin math, and it seems like that would be about one cell every 0.7 seconds. So currently that would be this, ka-chung, 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 ka-chung. And if they were to get to 10 gigawatt hours a year, that's like 2.5 times faster. That would be like, ka-chung, 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 ka-chung.
Wait, that's a battery cell in that span of time?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's off one line. I mean, maybe they have multiple lines.
Okay.
I feel like, from what I've heard, I think that whole building is not the plant. I think it's about 20,000 square feet of the existing building is the plant.
Oh.
So if that's right, I'm not sure I am, but if that's right, then this new facility is about 10 times that size. So maybe that would mean 10 times 10 gigawatt hours a year, or 100 gigawatt hours a year.
Wow.
Which would be 800,000 cars a year.
Now, we don't know how much this is going to cost. I mean, we're comparing this to like Coreplex, which is an $850 million. That's just what the loans they got were.
Right, because I mean, they're building a whole facility. This is a already built facility they're leasing.
True. Which
You save a lot of time.
You save a lot of time. It's right where you need it to be.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, they have something that in a much smaller footprint can produce almost the same amount of gigawatt hours.
But look,
Coreplex.
we could be completely wrong. This
Sure.
is just one source. Maybe it's just going to be office space for all we know. We don't know.
Well, it is advanced manufacturing space, according to the
That
thing.
is true.
It
It
looks
does
like a
look like
factory.
it.
If you
It
look at
smells
the
like a factory.
if you look at the back, it's got a whole bunch of truck bays for loading in battery materials and taking out the battery cells.
But my question is, if you're going to figure out the pilot plant here, why not just build them up at the gigafactories? Why build it across the street?
I'm guessing, here's my conjecture. You are building this pilot plant in this kind of too small of an area. You have all the engineers there, they're used to commuting to there, and now you say, okay, great. We've worked out most of the kinks. We think that we're going to solve these other problems. A lot of these problems can be solved with some scaling, bigger machines, bigger lines and stuff like that. Instead of having to take all sorts of turns to fit into a facility, you just have them go nice and straight all the way down the runway. I think you do that in the big facility, and then you add line, and now we're making, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 gigawatt hours a year. And that could be either Cybertruck or...
Cybertruck.
You think Cybertruck?
Yeah.
Semi-truck?
Yeah, maybe. But
Model 2?
Model 2. Could
Model Y?
Could be.
Model 3?
Tell us below what you guys think.
I'm really excited about it.
Now, while we've been in Amsterdam, we've seen a lot of e-bikes.
A lot. And we've been testing a lot of e-bikes.
So we've actually seen a few models of fat tire bikes here in Amsterdam.
They really stand out here among the more prevalent thinner tired bikes.
But I love fat tire bikes, and over on our Now Let's Review channel, we review the G-Force ZM fat tire bike, which has a lot to like, especially for the price.
Now, I didn't see any of these in Amsterdam.
That's because they're actually too awesome for Amsterdam.
What do you mean?
Well, I think they might be illegal here.
Oh, why?
Well, they have a 750 watt motor, and you can only have up to 250 watts of nominal power. So that means that you are not an electric bike anymore. You're like a completely different class.
Oh, okay.
Look, I mean, 750 watts is what makes it kind of super fun to ride, but I guess too much for Europe. Anyway, Europe, you need to rethink that in my opinion. But go check out our review of the G-Force ZM, see why we think 750 watts is super fun, and see if it's a good fit for your use case and your budget. All right, so next up, we've got some of our community stories. I'm so excited to see what you guys have, and it seems like the guys at Tesla Life have a story for us about Tesla's 20th birthday.
Hello, Zach and Jesse, and now you know viewers. We're the Tesla Life crew. I'm Pat.
I'm Casey. And I'm Mark.
Well, July 1st is coming up, and it's somebody's birthday. Any guess whose?
Canada?
Well, yes, and it's also, more relevant for this show, Tesla's birthday. I've written an article on carswithcords.net about the 20 years of innovation that Tesla's had. So it covers their founding, the internal struggles, the innovative nature of Tesla, how they're not a car company, they're an innovation company that just happens to have cars as their first product. This article covers their purchase of Solar City and how that got into the solar business, and a whole lot of their product development, their methods, and I think you should check it out. It's pretty cool.
Excellent. So you've covered the full gambit, and I understand, Patrick, you've even put some extra in there for some future predictions.
Right. So yeah, they've done a lot in the last 20 years. And conjecture time.
Conjecture time.
It's part of what Now You Know does. So I thought it would be fun to throw some of that in there. Where is autonomous driving going to be in 20 years? What about Optimus? And then those are the things that we just know about now. 2 decades from now, I think if you saw where they were at their founding, it would have been pretty hard to guess where they are today with their energy products and having launched a car into space. How many other car companies can say they've done that? Yeah, their pace of innovation, a whole lot of things can happen over the next 2 decades. I'm just happy to be along for the ride, owning their products, having a sun come down to power my home, having power walls on the side of the house to make sure that we keep running during a blackout. It'll be really interesting to see if they start doing home products, induction cooktops, heat pumps for your home. Lots of cool stuff can happen over the next 2 decades.
Definitely. And for anyone who tells you, hey, I don't know, they're so new, I'm not sure if I'm ready to get a car from such a new company, 20 years old. They're newer than Stellantis.
That's right. Yeah, older. Yes, that is a very good point. They're not just some up and comer. They've been around the block and gotten through some major hurdles in that time. So that's it. Check it out at carswithcords.net. Thanks, and now you know.
Next up, Mike takes us on a tour of the Tesla 2023 shareholders meeting.
Hey guys, this is Mike, and I was a little bored today, so I just decided to take a road trip.
Just hanging out with my car today at Giga, Texas.
So once you park, you go through the security area and into a tent and get your passes, and then you board the bus that actually takes you over to Giga, Texas, where the event will be. Once there, they have a big display with a bunch of vehicles and things for you to look at, including the semi-truck.
Hi.
How are you?
Welcome. Good. How are you?
Awesome. Are we allowed to sit in the driver's seat?
Sadly, no. Yep, all the cameras, got great resolution. I had somebody in here that was 6'10" earlier. It's super tall.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Then they had the entire sexy lineup with the Model S in ultra red, pretty neat looking. And then they had 2 cars from Germany with the Midnight Cherry Red paint and the Quicksilver paint. Both were really great colors that I wish we had offered here. And kind of hidden off to the side, they had this thing called a Tesla cabin, which is basically this small shed that had on one side the Tesla solar roof installed. You could go up and look at it. And then all the home energy equipment they offer with Powerwall, the inverter, wall connector. And then as you walk towards Giga, Texas, front and center is the Cybertruck. This thing looks so much better in real life, and I cannot wait to get mine. Inside Giga, Texas, there was a flurry of activity, and you could even wait in line and get your picture taken with Franz. There are various displays around, including this Model Y body, and the all-important merchandise store with hats, shirts, belt buckles, mugs, you name it. Amongst the various displays were ones with the Plaid drive units. This one shows the rear drive unit, and right next door you got the Plaid front drive unit. They had a brief factory tour which took you through the final assembly area, but it wasn't as involved as I'd like. But it was still pretty cool. And then it came time for the main event.
Please welcome Elon Musk.
It is effectively a 5-fold increase in the value of a car overnight.
And afterwards, I saw some familiar faces.
Excuse me, sir. Anybody ever tell you look like Brian from My Tesla Weekend?
Oh, that's a horrible thing to say. I can't believe you would insult someone like that.
Excuse me, sir. Has anybody told you look like Gary Black?
Yeah, a little bit.
Excuse me, sir. Did anybody tell you look like Dr. Know-It-All?
Oh, man. Really? I don't like that guy at all.
Excuse me, sir. Anybody tell you look like Joe Tetmeyer?
I have heard that every once in a while, but I think he's my distant relative.
What's your biggest takeaway from today?
The bots are real and they're coming quick.
What's your biggest takeaway from today?
A, he's staying, which is great. B, he's going to try advertising.
What's your one takeaway from today?
Full self-driving. Elon is all, I think that and Optimus.
What's your biggest takeaway from today?
My biggest takeaway today? I like just getting a chance to see Giga Texas from the ground level inside and talking to the employees.
What is your best adjective to describe Tesla?
Exciting? Is that an adjective?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
If you had to sum it all up in one adjective?
Awesome.
Awesome. One adjective to sum it all up for you.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Yeah. To sum it all up for you, what would you put on it?
I would just say, excitement for the future and just embracing possibilities that we've heard about for a long time, but they never really have materialized, and now we're seeing that happen.
How long did it take you to get here?
10 hours.
10 hours.
It was 2 flights.
How long did it take you to get here today?
A couple hours. I came from Chicago.
How long did it take you to get here?
Just this morning?
Yeah.
Well, I flew from Atlanta, so I'd have to say like a few hours. I don't know. I couldn't tell you exactly. Maybe 5 hours.
Okay. How long did it take you to get here?
From San Antonio, typically about an hour and a half, depending on the traffic. And as many people know, I do that 3 times a week. So I'm pretty familiar with the route.
So that's it from Giga Texas and the 2023 Tesla shareholders meeting. And if you ever have a chance to come to one of these, I highly recommend it. Now you know.
And the Tesla Life guy sent us this story about a new Tesla location.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tesla Live. Welcome, Now You Know viewers and Zach and Jesse on vacation or wherever you may be. We've got a story for you to talk about this evening, and that is about the new Tesla location being proposed for tribal lands that is just east of Syracuse, New York. You guys remember that about a month or so ago, we talked about a second location on tribal land that was going to be built in New Mexico. That was following up a successful location also in New Mexico. So this is the third tribal lands proposal for Tesla, and it's, of course, with a new tribe that they're proposing here near Syracuse. So that was kind of interesting to hear that obviously the formula is starting to work.
Pretty clever for them to kind of get around some of these draconian situations that were made stronger against them after the dealerships realized that Tesla existed, that they were opening stores and service centers. Well, they can't buy out their local Indian reservation people. They can only buy out their local politicians. So this is a good way to get around that.
Yeah, obviously it's working for them in New Mexico if they're opening a second location there. So why not try this? So New York changed their laws in 2014. So that restricted Tesla to just the 4 service and sales centers that they have there now. And they want to expand. They should be expanding all over the place. And because we want to get more Teslas out there.
We want more. We want more.
And they now have the #1 vehicle in the world. So of course, there are plenty of people that want to receive these. I think this is a really smart way for them to do it. And I'm glad the tribe there in New York is willing to work with Tesla on this. And I hope it works out good for the tribe. They get jobs and development, and for Tesla to get more customers in that area. It's a win-win.
Exactly.
And win-win. Customers, the tribes, Tesla. We talked a couple months ago. We were wondering who would be next. It would just be another one in New Mexico. And here we are in New York. So they're going to spread this thing all across the country. That's phenomenal.
Yeah. And Patrick, you had mentioned about the interest is so great that they don't even want for the location to be completed building before what happens.
Oh, yes, that's right. So this was a cool part of the story is Tesla is going to start deliveries immediately at the casino on the tribal land. So they are starting deliveries right away. And that's just how Tesla does things, right? Let's go as fast as we can. We need a building? No, we don't. We'll put up a tent and we'll start deliveries.
Sprung structure.
Oh, this might actually be...
You need to put Maybe you need to put a supercharger out because a lot of these casinos have Tesla destination chargers already there. So, hey, we're going to deliver your car at 50% to this casino. Here's some tokens. Go enjoy yourself. We'll see you in an hour.
And if they don't have a supercharger, I bet you they now know the person to ask to get a supercharger at that location. Yeah, that's fantastic news. So we wanted to share that with the Now You Know viewers, and now you do know. And from Mark, Casey, and Patrick, have yourself a great evening.
Bye. Zach sent us this story about the recent wildfires up in Canada and how it is having an effect on air quality throughout the country in the Northeast.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. I'm Zach, and I'm coming to you from Syracuse, New York. You picked a good time to travel since the Northeastern United States is dealing with an air quality crisis due to the wildfires happening in Canada just a few hundred miles north of me. The EPA uses an air quality index scale to determine the health and safety impacts of pollutants in the air. Currently, Syracuse has an AQI rating of 353 out of 500 for PM2.5 particles. As we've discussed many times on this show, PM2.5 particles are particulate matter smaller than 2.5 microns in size. Long and or frequent exposure to these particles is detrimental to your health. Normally, PM2.5 particles are too small to see. As you can see behind me though, the density of these particles is clearly visible. In this air, PM2.5 particles make about 300 micrograms per cubic meter of the air. The average cigarette contains 22 micrograms, so breathing this air for an entire day would be like smoking 14 cigarettes. These are the same particles that are coming out of ICE tailpipes and diesel exhaust of school buses. I hope that this shocks any doubters that we need to fix this problem now. I hope that all the viewers impacted by these wildfires are safe. I strongly recommend anyone within this PM 2.5 cloud to stay indoors as much as possible. With that being said, I'm going to go back inside. Everyone stay safe. Now you know.
And to follow up on Zach's story, Clint sent us this story about how the wildfires are having an effect all the way down in New Jersey.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is Clint reporting in from northern New Jersey. You sure picked a good time to be out of country, because here in the Northeast, the air quality has been absolutely terrible recently, actually approaching hazardous conditions due to the wildfires in Canada. As you can see behind me, that is actually the sun. Bright orange, and usually can't look at it. There's a little bit of haze in the air. You can definitely smell it. Oh, it smells like you've been on a campfire all day long. So now, as you can imagine, would be one of the best times to own a Tesla, just for the sheer fact of biodefense mode. On to the next story.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. It's Spencer here in central New Jersey, along with my camera operator, Lyra, and you may know from some Supercharger reviews we've done together. We're here at the Princeton Service Center at Mercer Mall. It's Mercer County, New Jersey. Could be considered Lawrenceville or Princeton. In 2018, I picked up my vehicle about 45 minutes away in Cherry Hill, and they've subsequently opened this Princeton location. Very high adoption area, and we'll show you a little bit of just the scale of the operation here. If you look down this direction, you'll see this is a very busy lot. It's a combination sales and service location here. So, maybe 100 or a bit more parking spaces. Very tight, very densely packed here. But we'll show you some nearby areas where Tesla is also using additional capacity to augment the operations here on site. And now we are maybe 100 yards away from that sales and service center we were just at previously. This restaurant was a Houlihan's, if you're looking at the map. It closed, I think, a couple years ago. And now this area of the parking lot of that Houlihan's restaurant is used for additional staging. Another couple dozen cars are frequently staged in this area. Relatively easy walking distance, I assume, for the folks at that sales and service center. But we're going to go over the highway next. About a quarter mile away is what's known as Quaker Bridge Mall, and that's where the real capacity is. We have now switched sides of the highway. We have come across Route 1. Again, the sales and service center and the Houlihan's parking lot were over at Mercer Mall. On the other side of Route 1 is Quaker Bridge Mall. And we are on the side with, you see here, JCPenney and I believe the closed Lord & Taylor's, which has created some available parking lot capacity here right adjacent to that sales and service center. So Lyra, my camera operator, is actually standing on top of my Model 3 to get you a good view of the Teslas as far as the eye can see. You see they're over to your left in that little side parking lot, and then often literally thousands of cars are staged here in this parking lot to go to that Mercer Mall delivery center. Now you know.
Our news short sent us this story about Elon tweeting that they are open to licensing Autopilot and FSD to other auto manufacturers.
Welcome to our news shorts. We'll get right to it. Elon Musk mentioned he is open to licensing Autopilot, FSD, and other Tesla technologies.
You did, Mary. You electrified the entire automobile industry. I'm serious. You led.
This comes to us via a Twitter comment on an article from Electric, where GM CEO Mary Barra admits Tesla is leading when it comes to EVs. A screen grab of this tweet can be seen here. From Jim Hall.
You changed the whole story, Mary, wherever you are.
Oh boy, Joe Biden is going to be pissed when he reads this and finds out he was bamboozled. Then it goes on with the article, GM CEO says Tesla has the lead in electric cars. Doesn't see profitable 30 to 40K EVs until end of decade. Right below you can see Elon Musk's comment.
Tesla aspires to be as helpful as possible to other car companies. We made all our patents freely available several years ago. Now we are enabling other companies to use our Supercharger network. Also happy to license Autopilot FSD or other Tesla technology.
So now you know. This has been our news shorts. Goodbye. Have a good time.
Phil sent us this story about a new electricity price tier in Ontario, Canada.
Just wanted to give you a heads up about something that's happening in Ontario. I haven't seen it covered in any other YouTube channels or videos that I've seen so far. It hasn't really been in media around here at all, actually. But I found out that the government of Ontario is trying a new pricing strategy with respect to electricity costs in the province of Ontario in Canada. This pricing strategy is geared towards promoting electric vehicle adoption and converting your houses to use air source heat pumps. What this pricing strategy is that they call it the ultra low pricing tier system, I think it's called, or ultra low cost pricing strategy or something to that effect. But basically what it is between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. the pricing on electricity per kilowatt hour is going to be only 2.4 cents. So that's going to make charging my Tesla cost about $1.50 from empty to full. You can't beat that kind of cost for propulsion per mile anywhere. So that's going to be great. The only caveat to that is that during the daytime your price is going to go up a little bit. But I think it's with charging EVs, it's going to more than offset the increase in cost throughout the day. Anyways, just wanted to give you a heads up on that. I think it's an interesting way that the government is incentivizing this technological transition. Unfortunately, they did take the EV incentive away for purchases, but this, I guess, is a bit of a saving grace, maybe. We'll see how it goes. All right, now you know.
Mark sent us this story showing the progress of Lion Electric Bus's battery factory being built up in Quebec.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is Mark Fichette speaking from Mirabel, Quebec, Canada. And just wanted to give you a sneak peek of new expansion for Lion Industries. As you can see, they've started already the delivery of buses and large vehicles, large work vehicles, all electric. And they're still in construction, but pushing hard and working hard to provide everybody with clean electric vehicles. So this is Mark signing off from Mirabel, Quebec, Canada. Take care, Zach and Jesse. Now you know.
Todd sent us this story about his recent solar houseboat conversion he's been working on.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, wanted to help you out while you're out of town. I'm not quite ready to show off this project, but since you need content now, you're getting it now. What you see behind me is 2,400 watts of solar panels that I put on top of this 1972 seagoing drifter 45-foot houseboat. And under this boat, there is a 6,500 watt EG4 inverter and 15,000 watts of batteries. So let me go show you around a little bit. So here's the solar array that's been created for this boat, 2,400 watts, which is 24 100 watt panels. The challenge you have with a houseboat and typically an RV as well is you're working with a flat roof. So I watched 3 or 4 videos. Well, I watched half of 3 or 4 videos and found a method that I like for not penetrating the roof, and that's taping the outside edges. That is flex tape, that is clear flex tape that is used on the outside edges, and then that's 1-inch Gorilla tape that's used between all the panels to tape them together, and then it's zip tied together as well. The other challenge is heat buildup. So as you can see, these panels are currently reading 128 degrees, and just the roof itself is close to 130. On a hot day, that can be 150, 160. So we put this sign foam under all the panels, and we ran the sign foam this direction. So there's a little bit of an edge on the outside edge and on this edge that does not have foam on it, so that way it will lay down a little flatter, but it raises up the center of the panels to give them a little bit of a barrier off the roof and hopefully dissipate some of the heat. And last, what you're looking at here is the app that comes with the EG4 system from Signature Solar. And you're seeing the battery production, or the solar production, in the bottom left. In the bottom right, you're seeing the current status of the battery. The upper left is when it's plugged into grid power, so that would be when I'm at dock, plugged into shore power. And then the upper right is how much power is being used currently in this system. Now you know.
And Mike sent us this story about an EV conversion he's doing on a 1927 Dodge Brothers touring sedan.
Hi, Zach, Jesse. This is Mike from Kennewick, Washington. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these. It's a 1927 Dodge Brothers touring sedan. It's been converted to electric. Picture of it plugged in. Me and my friends play in the shop. Go around to the interesting parts. It's a DC motor conversion. 2 battery banks down each side. The relays on each side behind the plexiglass, 52 volts for a total of 104. With a 120 volt DC motor. It's got a Siemens PLC programmable logic controller, which provides information to the Siemens touchscreen for volts, amps, miles an hour, and motor RPM. Battery banks down each side are under plexiglass panels, and battery management system behind the floor plate. The 12 volt side for running the blinkers and relays, and the onboard charger. Hope your viewers are interested in watching that. This is where we watch Now You Know, and now you know.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. It sounds like we're about to have a lot more friends at Superchargers before long, and so it's a good thing that Tesla is rolling out new stations at a breakneck pace of almost 2 a day. We've seen how fast the prefab stations can be assembled, but here in Eagan, Minnesota, they're using individual pedestals, and I wanted to share that construction process with you. The first equipment showed up around April 10th, and the next couple weeks were slow going due to snowstorms and rain. But once things got rolling, they moved fast, and each week showed significant progress. Even if they did have a couple setbacks, like one of the pedestals being damaged and having to have it replaced. And in the last few weeks, they've been tidying up landscaping and making sure all of the connections were secure. A little over 2 months later, and the meters are in, and this location is almost ready to open and get its first Supercharger review. As to concerns about stations getting too crowded as we welcome our non-Tesla friends, this is one of 5 Superchargers just in Minnesota that are currently under construction or about to open. So very exciting here. Tesla is not slowing down. Thanks for all you do, and now you know.
Thank you to everybody who sent in your stories this week. You made it possible because we're here in the Netherlands and we can't do the regular show. So I really, really appreciate the community sending in those awesome stories. Hey, I want to thank the Cybertruck Owners Club. They sponsor this show. If you are looking for Cybertruck news, you have to head over there. They've got all of the discussions, all of the enthusiasts and future owners are there talking about stuff, and they've got their crowdsourced reservation tracker so you can check your place in line.
All right, next up, it's video contributor stories. What do we got? Benny sent us this story about his Tesla lineup.
Okay, this is my wife. This is my dog Tesla. And I have the Model S, Model X, Model 3, and Model Y is at my daughter's driving it. And I'm charging directly from the solar panel. And it goes right to my car. And I drive. I don't spend money for gas. I don't spend money for maintenance. Free. From the solar to my car, and I drive for past 3.5 years. Saved almost over $30,000 of not paying for gas and maintenance. Now you know.
All right, it's time for Patreon bonus stories. Remember, you can head on over to our Patreon. It's over right here. Help support the show. For as little as $1 a month, you get all of our Patreon bonus stories. All right, we're back from our Patreon bonus stories. It's time for the shout-outs. These people get their names at the end of the show. Who do we got, Jess?
We've got Jim Barclay,
Robert Kine,
Burned Rule,
and Kid Aswathi.
And eyeopener.ca. Thank you so much for supporting us. We can't do this show without you.
All right, it's time for Community Mail Time. This week we've got Carl. He found this Waymo Jaguar I-Pace charging at the Electrify America charging station in White Settlement, Texas.
Tom sent us this picture of a wrapped Model S in Tucson, Arizona.
Our friend Dave spotted this batch of Teslas being transported while driving from Palm Springs, California to Phoenix, Arizona.
Christopher sent us this picture of a Revel Model 3 taxi they saw in New York City.
Ishay spotted this Model 3 with the license plate Nicola in West Vancouver, Canada.
Tim found this Model S with a funny license plate driving around Chicago.
Mike spotted this Kia EV6 driving around North Bay, Ontario.
Art sent us this picture of some EVs at the Drive Green event in New Jersey.
Chuck spotted this Cadillac Lyriq parked next to his Tesla Model S in Concord, North Carolina.
Sam found this Audi e-tron GT in Germany.
Kenneth spotted this Chevy Bolt at the park headquarters in Acadia National Park.
And Michael sent us this picture of an Irish National Ambulance Service all-electric response vehicle.
All right, it's time for Supercharger reviews. Let's see what people have reviewed out there in the world today.
What's up, Zach and Jesse? I am still on this trip from California to Florida. We have completed our third leg from Wilcox, Arizona to Fort Stockton, Texas. We're now at a supercharger here connected to a Flying J with loads of amenities. You can see there's a Subway, the Cinnabon, and a bunch of stuff. You can get gas, you get charged up. 8 stalls, 150 kilowatts. And everything you need, basically, especially if you're road tripping. There is a brand spanking new La Quinta Inn that we're staying in that's just across the street from here, which I highly recommend because they have a huge lot for trailers and stuff like that for parking, a dog area, everything's brand new, it's great. As far as towing goes, this is not very tow friendly in regards to just pulling in and charging. However, there's plenty of space to maneuver, so that's great. So if you're a Tesla that's not towing, I would give this an 8 out of 10. If you're a Tesla that's towing, I'd give this a 7 out of 10. Now you know.
Hello, Zach and Jesse. I'm standing at the Miramar Outlet Mall in Estero, Florida, with the brand new version 3 Superchargers. There are 16 stalls here. And in addition to those, there are also 16 destination chargers. Now these are J1772 plugs, and you can see we have a Mustang charging right now. But this is an interesting mall in that this is the first one I've seen that has both destination chargers and the superchargers. We are about 100 yards from an entrance to I-75, and of course we're at an outlet mall there for restaurants and places to shop. Anyway, very interesting. Now you know.
Hi Zach and Jesse, Brian here, in East Norwich, which is in the east of England, just above London by about 100 miles. And this is a new supercharger for Tesla and also for everything else, CCS charging. This is GridServe, which is one of the new hubs that is in East Norwich. It's its first day opening. We've got 8 Tesla chargers here. There are also 22 high-power 350 kilowatt chargers at this location. This new hub is run by a company called GridServe. Now, GridServe claim to be a sustainable business that runs the GridServe electric highway. This new state-of-the-art compact electric forecourt delivers the latest charging technology. GridServe says the hub delivers 100% renewable energy and helps to show the way for mass EV adoption, well ahead of the 2030 ban on new gas and diesel cars in the UK. I give this location a 10 out of 10. And from East Norwich in the UK, this is Brian. Now you know.
Hi, this is Greta at the new Grinnell, Iowa Supercharger. This is a good stop because it has 8 V3 stalls located right off the interstate. It covers the gap between Des Moines and Iowa City. There is only a Subway and 2 gas stations for food and no pull-in stalls, so I give it a 6 out of 10. Now you know.
Thank you so much for doing Supercharger reviews. Again, we have a map over on our website, nowyouknowchannel.com, where you can see all the Superchargers, all the reviews, and you can even upload your own.
All right, what do we got for new Superchargers in the world?
We have the 8 stall in Marietta, Georgia.
We have the 16 stall in Burlington at Marketplace Drive in Washington.
We have the 12 stall in Bonn, Germany.
We have the 12 stall in Steinkjer, Norway.
The 3 stall in Shenyang, China.
We have the 12 stall in Milpitas, South Abbott Avenue in California.
The 8 stall at Kennett Square, Pennsylvania.
We have the 6 stall in Exeter, New South Wales, Australia.
The 6 stall in Guiyang, China.
We have the 3 stall in Guangzhou, China.
All right, so not a crazy amount of Superchargers this week, but
pretty good.
I think we're gonna start to see an uptick.
You mean NACS chargers?
NACS Superchargers. I think we're gonna start to see an uptick in their rollout, since now they have to account for the 2 runners-up for the most EVs sold in North America.
Yeah. So I think this is one of those sleeper stories. I think in a few weeks people will kind of forget that it was a story, but it's a huge story. And I think this is just this is something we've known was going to happen. We were just waiting for it to happen, and it just took longer than we thought. But it was definitely exciting. And these people are all excited about it. I don't know if you can hear them, but we're here in Amsterdam. People are so excited. It's like midnight here, and people are still wide awake and having fun. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. If you guys made it to the end of the show, thank you. It is your support that makes it possible for us to go to another country and still continue doing the work that we do. So thank you for doing it. Thank you to the community this week for sending in all your awesome stories, because really without you, we would have had a very bare bones show this week because we just didn't have the time. We've been so busy at the Micromobility Conference, riding around in some cool e-mobility things we're going to tell you more about later.
Thank you so much for watching. Now you know.